Hi, I'm Dave Lynnes, president of Lynnes Welding Training out of Fargo and Bismarck, North Dakota. Today I'm going to show you how to weld in the 2G position, which would be the horizontal position, in the spray transfer mode using 45 thousandths diameter wire and C10 shielding gas. That's 90% argon, 10% CO2. I'm going to start out with the machine set at, the wire feed speed is at 330 inches per minute and the volts is at 26. Okay, so what I've done so far, we'll be using a backing bar. I cleaned the front and back side of my test plates along with one side of the backing bar, and then the other plates here are just spacers just to keep everything level. I've got it clamped down. I took an extra 1/4 inch plate and used that for my spacer. So we have a 1/4 inch root opening in here. What we're going to do is tack the ends, and then I'm going to flip it over and give it a couple tacks on the back side. So let me put on my welding gear and we'll get this tacked up. Alright, so now we have the ends tacked, and I'm going to flip it over and get a couple tacks in the middle. Okay, now we are ready to clamp it into the horizontal position, 2G position, and I'll show you how to weld that up. Now that we have it all tacked up and we have it set in position, the plate is vertical and the weld is going to be horizontal. That's the 2G position. Okay, so I just ran some wire out for demonstration purposes here. That first pass, I'm going to start back here on my runoff tab, and I'm bring it through, and I'm going to watch the puddle tie into both edges of the plate along with the backing bar. Okay, that'll be the root pass, and I'm going to run it all the way through and off the runoff tab here. Okay, let me put my hood on, we'll run that root pass. Okay, now that we have our root pass in there, you can see some of the silicon islands. I want to wire wheel those and just clean it up before I put in the second layer. Okay, now I'm going to run the second pass down on the bottom half of the root pass, and I want to keep the puddle about 1/16 of an inch below the bevel here. So we'll run the second one and then a third one. I'm going to change the gun angle. We'll run a third one up here. We'll keep this about 1/16 below the face of the plate here. Okay, here we go. Okay, now that we have the second pass in, I'm going to change the gun angle and we're going to run the third pass right up here. Okay, now that we have our second layer in, I wire wheeled it, we let it cool, so now we're ready to run our third layer, but our first pass. So now I'm going to run probably 3 more stringers to cover this up. Okay, so you don't want to quench it in water, you have to let it air cool, get it to a point where you can touch your plate again, and then come back and run your final passes here. Okay, now that we have the first cover pass in, I'm going to try and fill the rest of the joint here with 1 more stringer. Sometimes it might take 3 stringers to cover this up. So. Okay, I thought we could maybe fill it in 2 passes, but you'll see on the top edge here I've got too much undercut, so I'm going to run 1 more pass, 3rd stringer, just to fill in that undercut. It's very important that you let the plates cool down before you run that final stringer, otherwise you're going to get that undercut on that top side there. So I'm going to put my helmet on and we're going to run this 3rd and final pass. Okay, this is the final weld here. I put the 3rd stringer in. You can see that now we do not have any undercut on the top side. It's very important that you take your time, let the plates cool in between passes, let it cool down to a touch before you put the final pass on there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you if you ever have to take a weld test in the 2G position using spray transfer. Thank you.